So, last week was great. It was awesome. So the party had a whole bunch of drama, and they were all yelling at each other, and Godric got mad at Locke, and they were all upset over Katarina, like, lying and, betraying each other, and how she sacrificed their good, awesome, amazing friend Nikolai for no reason whatsoever. It was just an act of pure evil. She's just like, yeah, you're dead. Later, buddy. No, like, external mechanisms forcing her hand whatsoever. It's just, terrible. But yeah, so there was a lot of stuff thrown around between Locke and Godric, and Alric and Trin, that kind of just ended up resulting in Alric leaving. And so while you were all gathered downstairs in your new home, the chateau, he was just kind of like, no, I don't. She's going down like a terrible path, and one that like none of us should be a part of. She's dangerous and she can't be trusted. And he left. And he left you all standing there. And that's like basically where we're just going to pick up. So as you lose track of Alric's like footsteps kind of getting lost in the traffic of the streets outside, you're all just kind of left there to kind of like reflect and figure out what the next step is.
Think about what we did wrong.
Real Breaking Bad ending right there.
Google is Orcus. Leafy Guru. For sure. They're monsters! Alright, so what's going on? You guys are just standing there. Alric, close the door. And scene.
Where is Trin? Where is he going?
Yeah, he's going home. He's not going to be joining us. It's probably better this way anyway. Let's call it, well, he was saying it was because of her, as I like point over my shoulder at Katarina. Let's just say it was unreconcilable differences. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wasn't having it.
Well, if he did not want to join, that is fine.
At least he left the orb.
That's
a win.
I was not looking forward to taking it if he didn't want to give it up.
Well,
yeah, that would have been a bad way to go.
Well, now that there's just the four of us, what is our plan still to go to the tombs?
Seems like the best way.
Or are we still going to take the orbs to Novar?
Oh, go to Ishtar first, was it? Leave the orbs with them to study? Try to find a way to activate them again?
I think that it's not a terrible idea. And I have to say, I'm not... This bag of holding is probably the most valuable item. With its current contents, maybe of anything right now, particularly given the context of the rest of the world.
Having them on us does put a target on our back.
And if we're planning to go out into the wilds, away from a city this well defended and fortified, I'm hesitant to carry them with us.
Well, if anything, Novak can tell us how he seems to know the most about these things, short of anything we may find by going to these tombs that you're talking about. So maybe you can at least, if not take them and research them or something, maybe you could give us some advice on how we can conceal them. Because it seemed pretty apparent that dragon definitely had some sort of sense about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if those things are putting off a little bit of a beacon to anyone that may be using the right magics to try and track him down.
Possible. I would also think that we should speak with the Empress before we leave, and if they plan to allow the circle back into their tower, we could leave them right where we found them.
And I also need to pick up Gwendolyn from the blacksmith before we go.
You know, we shouldn't dawdle too long, but we're not in a huge hurry either, so...
It's supposed to be ready by end of this day, I believe. No, actually, it was supposed to be ready last night, so I should go today. But when do we want to visit the Queen?
Well, we kind of have our pass, right? She said all we got to do is show it, say we want to talk to her, and she'll make time for us.
Be worth it to search for.
Continue, Katarina.
I was going to say it may be worth it to. Locke, are you able to scry or anything of the nature?
No, I'm afraid not.
It may be worth it to find someone who can, so that we may be able to narrow down where Hargraves is.
Well, that's certainly an option.
And if we're going to Ishtar, Novar and and everyone else should be able to do that very easily.
Maybe he'll have some insight. I imagine his mind's probably wiped too, though. It would be a bit of a long shot.
But he may be confused out there on his own, and it might make him feel better to know that we're out here too.
It's definitely worth pursuing. So, I guess we're going down to the shops, and then when we get back, get ready to pack up whatever you may need to take with you.
Or we just go to the Queen right now. We do need to talk to her.
Sounds fine to me.
That means I have to... Oh, no, I don't have any nice shirts anymore. This one cost me gold.
Well, what are you going to do? Going to go have something specially tailored for you?
Generally, but not now. I don't have time. The Queen will just see my chest. That's all there is to it.
I think we have another shirt in my hidden chest. Hold on.
Did we have a spare? I can't remember. We haven't gotten close since Emrath.
Well, this is a common occurrence, so I'm sure we have something lying around.
But last time, we used most of my earnings as a gladiator for the expedition.
Oh gosh, fine. Hold on. I'll make you look spiffy in a jiffy as I cast Minor Illusion, creating an illusion of a shirt over his chest. It's very clean, perm impressed, and it even has a little bow tie.
You see, Godric's like patting his chest, trying to like claw at it. Like, what is this? Why won't it go away? What is this tie thing?
It's some fancy people wear. I figure if I'm gonna make you a shirt, might as well spruce you up a little bit. I mean, we are gonna go talk to royalty.
Godric's trying to pull the bow tie off rather aggressively.
It's not.
I don't want anything around my neck. No.
It's not a collar. It's a adornment. Think of it as an adornment. Anyway, with that on, you're set. I can keep this up while you go and talk to the Queen.
And
I think it looks good on you as I like pat your arm.
Godric just nods.
All right, did you two want to change? As I point at Katarina and Locke.
This should be fine.
Yes, I can clean up, and I start prestidigitation and just like get the dust off.
All right, well, I got the writ right here as I pull out that scroll tube that Locke had put it in for Ulrich. So we're good to go. We can go ahead and leave if you're all ready.
Godric makes his way towards the door.
Since we do have the orbs, I would recommend you bring some of your equipment with you. You never know. Don't want to be caught off guard out there. We're, like you were saying, we got this big target on our backs.
I don't care if we're seeing the Queen. I'm not giving up a weapon this time. Just like when I told Alric, what happens if a dragon attacks? And he laughed. Look what happened.
That is pretty uncanny.
That was pretty uncanny. If I was a little bit more superstitious, I might think you were like in tune with something. If you start getting some dragony feelings, you just let us know.
Will do.
That being said, let's head out. Ladies and gentlemen, as I walk over to the door and I hold it open and I do that like a bow and like wave them through with my arm.
Okay.
We make our way to the Queen.
You're silent, Dandy.
Mute.
Oh, there we go. Forgot I put it up. Anyways, did you what's the first stop? Like, did you guys have a full accounting of what kind of like gold and stuff you all have left, items and everything? Because someone's gonna have to pay for Mike's sword.
Yeah, someone will have to pay for Mike's sword.
How much was that again, Mike?
To be determined?
Yeah, they didn't give him a price.
You might not get her back, man. Oh, jeez.
You're lucky that chest survived, my friend. I found the notebook.
I know.
I would like to pay for my sword with goodwill.
Oh, that's not going to happen. I'll have you know.
Generosity of strangers?
Yes.
Through just good vibes. Credit of good vibes. So I assume you guys want to stop at Lion's Head Enchanting, pick up his sword, and then head up to the palace.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
Sir. You assume properly.
Okay. All right. So.
There they were walking down the street, going straight to the shop, getting the sword.
So as you enter the busy streets, and Trin sings happy little songs along the way, you kind of follow Godric, who seems to know where he's going, and he takes you straight to the King's Square, and you see Lion's Head Enchanting. And are you all going to go inside, or are you just going to let Godric handle this?
I'm
definitely going inside.
I want to express that Matt's face was great. No.
All right.
Last time, that was good.
If Trin is going in, I'll trust Trin to get him a good deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I will wait outside also.
Okay.
That's definitely a mistake.
Well, we'll see what happens,
right.
huh?
So, as you enter the very busy Lion's Head Enchanting, you see that they're busy at hard at work. You can hear the sounds of hammering going on in the back of the building. But you see a little gnome with his colored hair and his one eyeglass kind of having a discussion with a couple of additional customers. While it seems like a few other attendants who didn't see her last time, Godric, are kind of out and about, like readjusting some of the armor up on the in the showcases, polishing weapons. And after just a moment, Finway finishes up his conversation and turns to come to you. Well, nice to see you back. We finished the work on the weapon. Would you like to inspect it?
I would, yes. Would you be able to do anything else to the enchantment?
We were able to increase very slightly the magical output.
Cool. I'll take a look.
All right. So he hands you this beautifully refitted and hafted weapon, so that you can. It fits now very comfortably in both your hands, and they seem to have embellished the blade a little bit and kind of just extended it.
This is very good work. Very good job. My
my name is Trent Twilight, friend of the big guy. I just gotta say, I love what you're doing with your hair. What product do you use? That is impeccable.
Oh, well, are you talking about the color, or are you talking because the color is natural? Or are you talking about the hair
That's
styling?
natural?
Tinker gnomes.
Or a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I haven't run
pomade.
into too many tinker gnomes.
We use Polly's pomade. Yep.
Oh, Polly, I haven't heard of that maker before.
No, he's a local beautician.
Oh, I might have to stop in there. I just use grease as I slip my hair around.
He kind of looks at you, just, yeah, I bet. And, I don't see a lot of your kind walking around the streets, especially now with everything that's happening in the Maison Valley. Things might get a little dangerous for your kind out there.
Oh, well, that's why I walk around with good company like this guy as I pat him on the leg.
I'm just bewildered looking between the two now.
So
right.
It sounds like you really set him up.
Yeah, we did. One of our better smiths basically put in the work and did the extension. The enchanting work was a little complicated. We're not really familiar with elven magic all that much, so we kind of basically had to call in a consultant to come take a look at it. It was impeccably well crafted, and it very much was. I was basically, after our consultant spoke to us, we weren't really sure if you were actually serious about dismantling or dealing with this weapon. I mean, it's old.
How old is it? Hang on.
I mean, based on what we were told, this weapon was probably forged sometime, maybe either during or right before the outbreak of the first Dragon Wars. It dates at least 3,000 or 4,000 years.
That is.
I'm not sure where you found it, but some collectors might consider this priceless.
I got it from a dwarf.
That's especially surprising. But I mean, at the same time, dwarves do have fairly exquisite tastes when it comes to art and beauty and craftsmanship. Them and the orcs of Fenralden.
I think I
very much appreciated.
Well,
this is a collector's item, is basically what I'm saying.
Thank you for letting me know.
This has history, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that if somebody's looking for this, that they find it. I hope you understand that.
Oh,
what do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is it's technically not yours. Elves are very, very particular, especially blood elves, about items like this that belong to a family lineage.
Well, they can take it from my dead body.
Yeah, that might be the case. That's why I'm telling you. All right, that might be the way it goes.
Would not be surprising.
Were there any markings on it that attributed it to any family line in particular?
Yeah, the Smith's mark.
Especially, yeah, there was a Smith's mark on it. That's what really made us wonder if he honestly was just a complete and total buffoon, didn't understand what he had in his hands, or whether or not there was something else going on.
I meant to ask, what is the, do you recognize the Smith's mark?
Well, I don't recognize him. Remember, I said we brought in a consultant from the outside to come look at everything. I believe I have some documentation and some notes here in the back in the office. So if you just wait here, I'm going to go back and I'll come back out with the receipts for the work and everything too. And we can go over the costs and what you owe. Feel free to check out the showcases. We actually just put out some new pieces, new armor, and enchanted weapons and such out on the floor. And so he kind of just politely bows and turns and walks back, goes around the cashier area or the front counter and heads into basically like a private office. And you can see him through. There's like kind of some windows sitting there, and he's going through some paperwork and adjusting some forms, just getting right to work trying to find it.
Yeah, as he walks away, I nudge Godric. Hey, you know, that's about tied to that family mark, apparently.
The Smith's mark. Most Smiths have a sigil or marking they stamp into the blade. Even more so when you have a mage, right? Someone who is trained in magic, they can imbue enchantments onto the blade.
So is this this whole elven thing kind of news to you?
I knew it was crafted from an elven's hand, and I knew it was old, but not that old. The design, I'd recognized the design, seen it before in shops and things, but I didn't realize the age of the blade.
Well, Godric, you know, I heard, you heard the words he was using, consultant. They had to tinker with it some extra. They had their smith working on it. Sounds kind of expensive. As I put my arms behind my head and do a little stretch.
Yes, it does.
You know, Godric, you're actually kind of lucky, because if this wasn't such a reputable place, something like that probably wouldn't have ever made its way back to you. I'm surprised he even told you that was a collectible. One of the only things I know is about Tinker Gnomes is they're fierce craftsmen, but they're also fierce dealers. You know what I'm saying? They know how to work the game.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that's your sword from before. Pretty sure, but I'm just saying it's a credit to them. So I'm just saying.
Words. I'm gonna grasp the blade, lean down, and whisper the activation phrase for Gwendolyn.
Okay. I mean,
to make sure
as usual.
All right.
Well, this is Gwendolyn. That is for sure.
Yeah, well, what
I mean,
I'm
the sword
saying
looks
is,
the same.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, this is a pretty reputable store. If you hadn't coming into a store with something like this, if you had gone to a lesser establishment, you might not have gotten it back just because of the nature of what it is. Apparently, there's a lot that goes into that.
And then the people in the store would not be breathing afterwards. That is the nature of business.
Either that, like, no offense, Godric, but you could strike someone as gullible. I try to say it as nicely as I can.
Trent, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying.
I'm saying that they might think that you could be deceived. Just because
you're using big words. Take the big words, put them smaller. What are you saying?
Oh. Okay, well, I was trying to say this nice. Okay, remember, we're friends.
Shut up and tell me.
Nice. They probably would have thought you were a dummy and thought they could have pulled one over on you.
Yeah, I understand that. I can see that.
So, and what I'm saying is, that kind of respect, that kind of relationship between a customer and a merchant like this tends to come with a cost. I'm just bracing you.
Okay, you're letting me know that money is going to be needed to be paid here. Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty substantial.
Probably.
And from the sounds of it, deservedly so. Like, I like getting a deal. Everyone likes getting a deal. But when you're working with good people like this,
Actually,
they didn't try to screw you over. They got
here,
you the
here.
stuff you wanted.
I'm gonna walk over to the door, keeping Gwendolyn in my left hand, so like they know I'm not leaving with it. And I'm gonna lean out the door. Lock.
Locke turns away from his people watching. What? Yes?
I reach down and grab the dwarven hammer that I've had before and toss it to you. Can you identify this? I'm assuming it's going to be expensive, which means I did it again, Locke. I'm sorry.
The hammer lands onto the walkway with thud. I pick it up. Okay.
I don't know how expensive it is yet, but supposedly what Trin was saying is they're using big words like consultant and expert and really hard and ancient and collectible. Yeah.
Of course they are. Yeah.
So maybe having something to barter with the hammer on top of my gold might help. I see if I can sweet talk them by saying we saved the queen, too. You know.
It couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I have everything that's happened. Why fret over some gold?
Matt on the inside.
You don't know that.
I saw the pain in your heart.
That's fine. All right, what did you want me to do with the hammer again?
Just identify it if you can.
Okay.
It's a hammer.
Yeah, it's the rune hammer.
Some might say it's hammer time.
Have I not identified it yet? I could have sworn we did that.
No.
No, you guys didn't identify any of the stuff that came out of Lucian's stash.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yep.
We got all caught up in like stuff.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Yeah. I'll I guess right there on the sidewalk I use prestidigitation, create the runes in the sidewalk and start doing the 10-minute ritual for identify on the hammer.
I'm just thinking of the thematics of a spell. If you had ever like characterized it like it's kind of crazy before, it's like, oh yeah, I draw the runes down, the lightning strikes from the sky, and I know what it is.
No.
That'd be dope, though.
It glows a bit. I mean, it's something. Someone who's not too experienced with magic could definitely shout something silly like, "He's summoning a demon," or something like that. Which would be very
but
funny.
you do draw a crowd. There's a couple of curious onlookers who basically kind of stop in the square what they're doing and kind of come over to watch you work magic. And a few children kind of ooh and ah at it, and they're just like enthralled with the active effects of you like performing the spell. So basically what you learn is that... Oh, I have the wrong set of notes out because I'm trying to find something.
Get your notes ready.
That one.
There, Mike.
Yeah, I have notes pulled up right now.
Oh, I need to go back an episode. I need to transfer all my notes over locally to the streaming computer.
Oh, it's magic, you know. It's not so. Oh, it's magic, you know. I believe it's not so.
So, it turns out that it's a dwarven thrower named Head Splitter.
Ooh. Ah.
Okay, then. That's rather awesome.
Besides the name, is everything just a normal dwarven thrower?
Yep.
Great. All right, let's find that stat block.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now, too.
Oh, I wasn't thinking dwarven thrower like magic thrower. I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's just a dwarven thrower with a fancy name. Okay, it's a hammer that you throw. Bam.
Oh.
It is that.
If you're creative enough, everything's a dwarven thrower.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Oh, damn.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, but there's that hidden second part that sucks.
I like how you're talking all like
Oh,
secrets.
sorry. It requires attunement by a dwarf, and I'm sad now. That makes me feel less bad about saying, hey, let's trade.
Maybe if you just grow out your facial hair enough, drink enough, put on LBs, it'll just like think you're a dwarf. Bye, Jammer One. We appreciate yous and we love yous.
And hey there, Prozac.
Hi, Prozac. Prozac Jr. Oh, that is good, though. It is good. It has the thrown property and a normal range of 20 and a long range of 60. When you hit with a ranged attack using this weapon, it deals an extra 1d8 damage. Or, if the target is a giant, 2d8 damage, because fuck those guys. Immediately after the attack, the weapon flies back to your hand, which is fantastic.
Well, so I finished the spell, and there's like a little flash of sparks as the runes disappear, and I lift the hammer and I take it over to Godric. I explain what it does, and then tell him it's very rare, but trade seems like the right thing to do with this. It'll only the magic will really only work for a dwarf, so.
Looked like a good hammer. Well, that sucks.
It's an excellent hammer. Quite an interesting enchantment. And
maybe we try to get more out of it. You never know.
I'm not much of a barterer, but it will certainly make a dent towards whatever's about to happen in there.
You say it like it's a horrible crime or something. Whatever dastardly deeds will go down within within the doors of that building.
Andy, could I roll Can I roll a... What the fuck would that be?
I thought I was going to say to seduce.
History...
You can do whatever you want.
I'm trying to decide... I'm trying to determine the possible value of this item. And I was trying to think of how I would do that. Whether it was investigation or history.
History.
I'll do history. I mean, it's not on the bonus.
Value of what? Like...
Of the Dwarven Thrower.
Magic items don't have set prices.
Ooh.
It's worth what someone's going to pay for it. This first rule of bartering, Godric.
It is nearly priceless. It's hard to say.
It's rare. It's hard to say. You don't have any real experience in like historical, like, you're not like a high magic retailer. You don't have any real experience with that. It's obvious based on what all you really have to go on is what Locke told you, and Locke told you it's basically a pretty rare item.
Just the craftsmanship alone, I would say, is probably worth a lot. That is the thing. The build of it, the metal, all about that. The craftsmanship of the forge alone is expensive, and then the magic itself. Let's go in. We'll see what he says about it before I say what I think it's worth.
I would like to search the hammer for any old like garage sale stickers that might be on it and see if they priced it before.
And then based on your passive inception, you find nothing.
Damn it!
I was really hoping you found it. 7 gold.
No. See, the rest of it is in there. It's 7, 000, 000. Yeah.
I have house in hand.
Yeah, I cannot seem to find that bit of information. I could have sworn I had it here somewhere.
Give a little bit of information to me.
Well, oh god.
Give it to me.
I wonder if I like accidentally
Deleted it for
deleted
the
it.
ages.
Yeah.
Possible.
Well, if you did, then the information is whatever you say it is.
That is also true.
Because I hold the power. Give a little bit.
So how's everyone's night going? Prozac, how you been? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I've seen him walking around at work a couple times. I've been so overwhelmed I haven't had like visiting time because when they're paying me they expect me to be performing whatever my function is.
That's ridiculous.
Like, oh, yeah, I know. It's totally unfounded. And then everything's so spread out. When I do get breaks, he's really far away.
It's not the worst thing.
Yeah, there's benefits and negatives because there's plenty of people that are really far away that I don't really want to be close to me. So that's nice. There's not a lot of them because I'm a pretty friendly guy and I get along with most folks. Unless they like secretly hate me behind my back, but I'm not really concerned with that because that's just going to happen. Like, that son of a bitch. That's son of a bitch safety guy. Because I do safety.
I like how aggressive you sounded.
Well, I'm playing this like person that hates my guts. That's my motivation in the scene. That dumb, deaf son of a gun. Old no ears over there. I did get that this week. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, you must be like a retired UFC fighter or something because you're fat, but you got the qualifier thing." I'm like, "No, I have a disability." Because I know.
I found it. I'm gonna have to put that somewhere else.
Oh dear.
I was like 4 or 5 places out of place. Anyways.
I suggest hiding it under your bed.
See, that's the problem. That's where it was.
Oh.
You have to remember that's where you put it when you like want to find it, though.
Oh.
All right, so you go back. You head back inside with the dwarven thrower and with Gwendolyn, or you basically just lean back inside or whatever. Finway comes back over to you with this stack of papers, and he's looking through it. And he's like, "Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, it looks like it was Smith by the mark matches that of somebody named Galather Loranen."
Galather Loranen?
Yes, he's an especially talented and well-known blood elven smith.
Oh. Well then.
There's a long history of making especially powerful elven artifacts, including a set of extremely powerful twin moon swords that I believe they still reside in Eriador.
Wow.
That is impressive.
Yeah, this is not one of his greatest works. It's very minor, but it's his mark. So either way, we re-hilted it and made it fit. We did everything we could to keep the original basically intact and in spirit. So
thank you. Thank you very much. And how much were you asking for all the changes?
So, overall, basically what we look at here, and he like starts doing math. He's like, all right, so we're looking at for the rehelting process and the basically enhancing the enchantment itself, all that work plus the cost of the Dravidium, Lyrium, the enchanting itself, and the permanency spell cast. We're looking at a price tag of around 1,500 gold for that work.
Okay, that is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, and then
Well,
the cost for bringing in the expert to identify the mark adds an additional 500 on top of that.
Okay, so we're up to 2,000 then.
Yep, that's what we're looking at.
Questions. Start with this one. As I pull out the dwarven thrower onto the... Well, I don't drop it. I kind of actually rest it.
Mm-hmm.
I have this dwarven thrower. If I'm not mistaken, it is valued more than the labor you did, yes?
In general, yes. I can't straight trade this though.
Well, I was imagining the hammer is more than what you did.
Yes, and generally that's sort of the issue. This is an especially very rare piece of another amazing piece that you just brought here. We can't trade this in. I don't have enough gold on hand to give you the difference.
That is fine. What I was going to say is we can add things for the trade. Things that are more useful than this for me.
I don't think you understand how much this can be worth in the magic selling market. You should take this to a private seller and have them actually track down a buyer. I mean, I would guess just based off what I could actually pay for it, like if I was going to, I mean, easily somewhere in the realm of maybe 18,000 plus. Easily. That would depend on the seller, though. And we do have an auction and trade house where you might be able to move the dwarven thrower and come back with a price, but I can't trade you the difference.
Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you for being honest.
He leans over the dwarven thrower, throws down a couple of his things. He's looking at it. He's like, "Yeah."
Mike.
This was smithed in Karak Ingra, the home of the Slayer dwarves.
It is a shame. I really wanted to use it too, but it's unfortunately limited to dwarves.
Yeah, I mean, we might be able to do the work around that. We can probably outsource this to a dwarven runesmith here in the city and have them undo the enchantments that bind it to that realm. Because normally dwarven throwers like this, axes and greater weapons that are made in Karak Angra are specifically made to make sure they can't be held by the wrong people or fall into the hands of goblins, like your friend here, or those who are considered enemies of the dwarves.
So it'd be best thing basically going to see a dwarven runesmith then.
I mean, possibly that. But mind you, he raises a finger and kind of comes over to you. Dwarves are not fans of, let's say, undoing the work of like their forebearers. This would be considered almost a relic to him. Just based on the inscriptions here, I can see the name, and we could run a quick history on this. But based on where it was smithed, I guarantee you this probably comes from their armory. When their slayers leave Karak Ingra, they are given weapons and they pay homage to the first slayer, and they head out. And normally these are relics that are recovered and brought back to Karak Ingra at a later date, if they can. That doesn't necessarily mean that the dwarven runesmith would insist on that. They recognize property and it's in your possession, so they won't try to take it from you, but he might not want to do any kind of work on that.
I mean, then he's a great person to start to see if he wants it.
They might. They'll probably just end up going back to Carrick Ingra, but that doesn't help you with gold in my hand.
That is true.
Yeah, let's talk one deal at a time.
So what I see here is two paths laid out before you, Mr. Goliath. You either pay me what you owe for the work on this amazing elven greatsword, and we call it a day, or you go and sell it, and you come pay me with what you're selling, or you keep the dwarven thrower and still pay me, and find your own way around the rune.
We got the cash.
Sell it.
I know we do. Here, hold Gwendolyn. I'll be right back. I need to go grab the rest of my money.
No, all right. You just like hand it to him. Takes it.
I walk out. And I walk out. Open the door and lock.
I turn away from my distracted people watching again. Yeah. Yes.
I need 600 more gold.
Oh.
I only brought 1,400 on me.
Okay.
It is not as much as I thought. Also, that dwarven thrower hammer thing.
Yes.
It is about the cost of a full expedition. Maybe more.
We'll put it in the chest.
I would like to go visit the local dwarven runesmith. Maybe trade it to him.
Okay.
Apparently, it's another artifact to another people, which I kind of don't want to keep away from the dwarves if it's theirs to a degree. Just like eventually I have to return Gwendolyn to the Blood Elves, if they let me.
All right, well, as he's speaking, I've already pulled the little miniature chest out of my robes and set it on the sidewalk. As I'm squatting down, setting it down, I just tap it with my finger and it starts to grow to a full-size chest. I flip open the lid. I've separated the gold into 100 gold pouches, grab 6 of them, and hand them to him.
I take the 6 of them, I walk back in, and I pull out all my money. I put 4 pouches of 100 gold, and I put another pouch of 1,500 gold. This is 2,100 gold.
All right. That looks good to me. Let me go check it out.
The extra 100 is for you, for being honest and so helpful. Most try to swindle.
No one of our level and caliber worth of dealings would ever consider swindling. We have too many high-priced clientele to come in here. We service knights and adventurers alike, so no, none of that here. Our job is to help people understand what they have.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much.
Either way, if you do end up liquidating this head splitter, be sure to come back here and we can discuss, some of the other items that we have here for sale.
Oh, we will absolutely be back. I have you know this. I need things to help me fight dragons. If you got that, I'm gonna buy it.
We might. What are you looking for?
Things to help me stick on the dragons, hold on to them, things to pull them down, things to make me harder to hit, more armor that's not armor, because my runes are my armor.
We might be able to commission something special for you. Depends on what you were looking for. You'd have to come to me with the details, and we could work it out.
Something special, you say?
Sure. If you're looking to hold on to one or something, we don't have anything that matches that description.
Yeah. My first thought is maybe something to help me lasso or wrap around the dragon so that when it flies away, I have something to grip on as I attempt to stab it or break through its scales.
Well,
you really got to go in there.
It's definitely an especially difficult and high-priced request, but we could definitely, we can do that probably. We can find something. All
right. If we can move the dwarven thrower, I will be back.
Well, we're here all the time.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Well, thank you. We have to go meet the queen, so I apologize for leaving too quick.
Oh, well, you enjoy yourself then.
It should not be too bad. We saved her life. The least she can do is be nice.
I'm sure she will be.
Pleasure. Thank you. And I turn to leave.
All right.
I'm broke. I'm broke as a joke.
Oh, Godric's gone? How freaking rude. I realized he left without me, and I follow out.
I look down. Oh, sorry, Trin. You're you're on my kneecap, so I tend to lose you.
Oh. Locke kind of hears them coming out, turns. How did it go?
Not bad. They paid them. It was 2,000 gold for all the work. Found out that this is an artifact to a degree of the Blood Elven people. The what was it? The maker was Galathier Larenin, I believe is the name, but Elven words are always hard to say. They made it stronger. It does more. It hits harder. Its electricity is a little bit more greater, and they elongated the blade and made the handle better for my hands. So really good overall. And we should come back here. They're very helpful, and they don't try to swindle.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, your boy Godric here got a really good deal. And on top of that, if he had walked into a lesser establishment, he might not have had his fancy weapon to pick up, at least not the same one that he dropped off.
Well, good. I have been watching the crowd. As always, humans are strange to me.
Strange? What do you mean strange?
I just find it all curious. The eating, the breathing, all of it. It's interesting.
Blinking, just normal stuff. I've heard this a lot. You never stop saying it.
That warrants further conversation, but I think I'll reapproach that at another time.
It's always fascinated me that creatures use food for fuel when there's plenty of magic everywhere.
But people aren't fueled by magic. They're not made to work that way.
Well, they ought to be. It's a huge advantage.
Well, that's a conversation to take up with the gods, as I wave my hand and start walking down the street. No, we're going to get nowhere with this.
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
So you guys begin basically walking up the street, shiny new weapon in hand, new shiny old weapon in hand. Were you guys headed to the palace, or did you want to go to the auction house, or what were you looking for?
It kind of depends a little bit on the layout of the city, but I think Godric had an intention of trying to track down this roomsmith or the auction house.
We can do that later. We can do that later. This is no rush.
To the palace.
All right.
To the palace! To see our pal, the queen. Our buddy old pal.
He is an empress.
So,
we're bonded in blood now.
Bonded in blood. Bonded.
Yeah. All those cultists, man.
I just hope she wasn't too close to the two guards that I certainly vaporized.
Oh yeah, she was totally close to them. They have like noble families that you get in that position by like you earn it. You earn your way there. So they were probably like some of her most trusted and long-term friends.
And now she's had time to think about everything that happened and
oh yeah, she's been like running through all the different arguments she's going to use to destroy you like this whole time.
For the record, Locke feels bad about that.
Yeah, he should. That was extremely reckless and short-sighted.
It was.
Well, hurt feelings don't bring people back from the dead, or they do. It's D&D.
No,
Who knows?
magic does. Yeah.
The magic of hurt feelings.
Yeah, the priest of the cleric of Vivian might have brought him back. You never know. Death isn't permanent.
It was less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just double check when you walk by them. Make sure they're not like moaning, like because maybe they didn't bring them back right. Just saying. Just an idea.
Alex wasn't brought back right.
Yeah. There's a lot to that story. Probably better for another time.
All right, so you make your way through the crowd up the streets, passing multiple vendors, and some of the people actually start to kind of recognize who you are. A couple of individuals come up and give like Katarina and Locke like some silver pieces, like 5 or 6 silver, and some flowers are given to Trin, and people are just like, word has apparently begun to spread about like this specific group, and you all kind of stand out in your own ways, and you even run into a couple of different adventurers who just are congratulate you, and it's like, oh, we can't believe what happened. We came into the city a couple of days ago, and we were staying here when the cult of domination like started attacking people in the streets. It's amazing that you managed to be there at just the right time to stop what was happening, and we appreciate it. So you kind of get like tied up, like talking to people who want to like hold your hands, shake your hands, like talk to you, and are want to hear about what happened in the throne room, because rumors are spreading about like a dragon being there, and the queen being in danger, but just being saved by these relentlessly good-willed adventurers who were summoned there, basically. There's at least 5 or 6 different versions of the story that you heard, like, kind of repeated back to you. So while Katarina, Trin, and Godric are kind of being mobbed by people, for a variety of different reasons, Locke, you actually see something fairly interesting in nearby at a market stall. When you look over there, you see a well-dressed like nobleman who is doing some sort of shopping, but more importantly, he seems to have what look like 2 Warforged with him. You see one of them has kind of a burnished brass kind of finish to the armor. One of them is carrying like a large glaive, and the other is carrying some sort of like one-handed like short-bladed kopis. Both of them look pretty. One of them's pretty big, almost like kind of the way Brittle was, and the other looks more closer to like your height in size and covering, so just a little bit more like armored plating added to him.
Okay, sorry to bail real quick. I think my dog is tearing something apart.
Nice.
As Locke sees this, and we're getting mobbed by the crowd, I look over at Katarina, and I offer her some somewhat kind words of advice. Katarina, just keep it up. They want to hear about the stories. They want to hear about what kind of hero you are. And then I lean in, and as close as I can lean in, being like half her height, and I'm like, any guilt you may feel about what went on, they don't need to hear that. That's part of the burden of being a hero. As I lean back, yeah, we're super great. And Matt's back, so we can play his scene. Are you back, Matt? Did your dog eat stuff?
She was definitely getting in the trash.
Nice.
She's a bad dog.
Doggo. McDoggo.
She's just upset because my nephew left. Okay, so 2 Warforged. Yeah.
One of these is not the other.
So I I approach them, and I greet the man first because he said he looked like a noble, right?
I mean, yeah, he's dressed very fine tunics, like basically within the style of the rest of the city for the most part, from what you've seen. He's carrying like a rapier at his side and is kind of haggling with this merchant, some sort of like fruit merchant.
So I pull my hood down and take off the the leather eye patch that I've been wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So my eye is still cracked from getting nearly destroyed. But I walk up to him and say, "Hello. It's not very often I see Warforged in the street, and even less I see two at the same time."
So, upon first approach, they both kind of turn and see you coming, and the bigger one kind of gets between you and the noble, the aristocrat. And as you kind of say hello, you can hear the bartering stop, and the man kind of steps aside, like leans to the side, like around this Warforged, and looks at you. Oh, look, another one of your kind. What is it that you want? What are you looking for?
Well, if I'm honest, I would like to speak to my fellow Warforged. I don't get the opportunity very often.
Oh, all right, I see. Yes, I can finish up here and handle this. Then you two talk to this other Warforged then. You know, get to know him. You are, yeah, no, you're both. They both kind of look at each other, then they look at him. And he's like, no, you're fine. You can go.
All right, so could we kind of step away a little bit, and I introduce myself. I am Locke. I am a wizard. I've been adventuring as of late for the last 10 years. I am curious, do you know where you are from and how you were awakened?
Let's see. So, why is that not working? Oh, there we go. Yes. So, the big one, with like the smooth silver finish, in a very similar, almost kind of like robotic but humanoid-ish tone, kind of responds to you. There's like a slight echo, just like brittle had that like kind of comes from the inside, almost like they're hollow to a degree. And yes, I am why did that close? Okay. My name is Darian. And then this is, and he kind of points to the one that's closer to your size with that kind of like brass finish. And he says, my name is Alyssa.
Darian and Alyssa. Fine to meet you.
But as to answer your question about when we awoke and what we do remember, I mean, we didn't awake at the same time, says Alyssa. I was, I believe, in a forest somewhere. I'm not sure where exactly. They're flashes of some past memory of some sort. I just remember being brought somewhere. and then it's kind of a blank. And then I remember seeing the man that we're with, and he said, your job is to be by my side and to work with me. And I have ever since. I was here before my compatriot, though. And then, why is that? It's really irritating me at the moment. But, then Dariane speaks up. Yeah, I remember waking up in a like a very arid space. I think I had fallen into some sort of ravine, and I remember being pinned by something, and then there was like pain in my arm, and after a moment I blinked on and everything cleared up, and I had to push a large rock which had fallen and wedged me in between itself and the side of the ravine. I was highly damaged, and I ended up just walking for a long period of time before finally I found a small town, and they basically I stayed there for a long time before I finally just was repaired and continued to just wander until I ran into Elsa here, and I joined them.
All right, so question for the DM: How often do Warforged awaken spontaneously like that without someone helping?
Probably like 1 out of every 25 or so. Because it's being able to awaken them like actually through like magic and stuff, and understanding them has been fairly recent, within the last like 100 years or so. So almost all Warforged are pretty old, are older than that, and they probably just woke up on their own.
So you awoke spontaneously. The gentleman. What is his name?
Oh, the merchant that we're with.
Yes, that's the one.
He is he's a merchant from Suwon here on business. We basically just landed here. His name is Imazael.
Well, I am very curious to learn how long have you been awake, the pair of you, and where have you been? I've spent quite a bit of time trying to find out more about Warforged, and surprisingly little to find. So I never miss an opportunity to ask.
So, the one that's about your height, keep closing the wrong fucking notes. Darain kind of gets really close to you real quick, steps in, and just, no, you mustn't look any further. You can't. If you open up the memories locked inside your nexus, you'll hear the call, and you'll be asked to return.
So I kind of put an arm on it, like I grab his arm. What call? What return?
The call back to the source. Have you not heard of it already?
I've only been awakened for 10 years. Does it happen immediately? My awakening is not long ago for most Warforged.
It happened for me years ago.
And where does
It's
it
a
call
voice. It calls us to somewhere. I don't know where. But some Warforged don't have the ability to resist. There's something different about the ones like you and I. Not all Warforged have the awareness or the wherewithal to do what they want. They return. From what I understand, they all head back to the Nether Medjocracy. There's something there. Something deep within the never-ending labyrinth of Eclaxia. A source of some sort being studied by the wizards there. Have you seen the nightmares yet? Have any of your memories come back? Do you remember parts of the old war yet?
I have vague memories of violence, but generally they come when I start to unlock a new spell. They are linked, I think.
So he kind of looks. The merchant is still back there. Imizel, he's like still haggling and doing whatever. Elissa basically kind of is like looking around and kind of steps around the opposite side of you to block you both, like vision from the both of you for the most part in the street. For a moment, the three of you, while you're over there dealing with the crowd, kind of lose sight of Locke behind this massively framed, large Warforged. So Darain basically goes to has this almost strange gem on his forehead, and he reaches up and he touches it, and it basically begins to come out and float at the tip of his finger, and he holds it in front. If we connect our nexus to the source temporarily, you may be able to glimpse some of our past through our combined memories. I am certain that we are all sharing the same memories together.
So, Locke raises his hand and traces a rune on his forehead, and his the metal on his forehead starts to warp, and a gem, like a pearl, kind of appears, and it does the same thing.
So, as you connect, there's a rush of information and running pictures that you basically begin to rush through. And then through the eyes, you find yourself in this other world, this other plane of existence. You see hundreds of Warforged on the fields around you, the ground beneath your feet ash and scorched, the skies riddled with powerful dark storms and the sounds of rushing wind and the sounds of people dying. You see humans, much like those here, are being slaughtered by strange dark figures. There's a blast of magic that strikes your chassis and throws you to the ground. And as you're looking up, you see the faintest something, there's a shape coming through the clouds above you, and a strange, something unlike anything you've ever seen before on Terrowyn. It doesn't match anything you've seen before in books. This is some other world. This large vessel with these strange, long tendrils coming from the front end, breaking through the clouds. And this dark hooded figure steps over the top of you, and you see these red glowing eyes and this intense hatred radiating off of it. as it prepares a powerful spell and begins siphoning the magic from your soul automata, and you begin to fade. And then blackness and a rush of power and information once again, and you are once again standing in this market square. The overloading, like your mind, as it begins to put these pieces together, and you're just basically left with this stagnant image of that creature standing over the top of you, siphoning your soul from your body. And the Warforged takes the piece back and puts him back into his forehead, and once again begins to speak low to you. We are remnants of something that happened long and far from Terrowyn. Whether this is a picture of a future that we don't understand or from our past, none of us know. You've awakened a small bit of your connection to the Nexus. From this point forward, you will probably hear the Source reach out to you, calling you back to it. I've never gone back. I have not the bravery to find out what happens at the other end when I meet the Source. These creatures, though, otherworldly and dangerous. I believe that that's what we were meant to fight in. Or we lost or fled. Either way, our people were made for somebody else's conflict. The mystery of how and why you, myself, are the way we are versus the other Warforged who are sometimes awakened and return to the Source. For those who struggle with their programming, for the old ways or the new ways, whichever it is, I don't understand, and you should be careful. I've heard rumors of individuals out hunting Warforged vehemently as of late. Others that I've met have disappeared from the city. Be careful, you are in fact a walking target. These are dangerous times. And then you hear Emizel. Hey, are you both ready to return?
I step back. Thank you for a wonderful conversation. Good luck on your journeys.
Ah, and you too. I hope you enjoyed speaking to your own kind.
I
You
do
know, there
every
are many
time.
more. There are many more like yourself east of Gwinnett in the eastern lands, the East Dales. There are others. There are actually quite a few Warforged out that way. The Sultanate, Kadar, the lands, Suwan, the Jinsar Emirates. There are many Warforged.
I have traveled in the deserts, but didn't actually spend much time in any of the larger cities. Next time I'm that way, I'll make sure to stop in and find some more.
Yes, there's actually a large gathering, a conclave of such in Damascus. Make sure you should stop by there.
I will. I will. Thank you.
All right. Okay, bodyguards, let's go. I feel a little overexposed now, so let us return. So as you watch, the two Warforged kind of walk away and start heading the opposite direction from you. The tall one kind of turns one last time and looks at you, and kind of just shrugs and kind of lazily keeps going. And the heavy footsteps get lost in the crowd of people. So after a few moments, you kind of just look over and you see that Trin and Godric and Katarina are still kind of being, like, the crowd's kind of starting to fade, and less of the people are, like, kind of there, basically bothering them, mobbing them. Except Katarina seems to have gained some sort of admirer, and she's trying to. It looks like at first kind of like weasel away from this gentleman, but this very handsome and well-dressed aristocratic type has been basically chewing your ear off the whole time, and trying to convince you to meet him tonight, to like go to dinner. And he's been very nice and cordial about it, but he's in Leoran tradition, he's being extremely almost poetic and romantic, overly so. And he's just been commenting on your hair and your youth and beauty and how wonderful you are, and how he would like nothing more than take like a moonlight stroll with you. And so as you approach, you hear this individual talking Katarina up, Locke.
It sounds lovely. I'm afraid I do not know how long I'll be in the city for.
Oh, a knife to my heart, madame. But if you are still here tonight, maybe we meet, maybe not.
Oh, Locke steps up behind him and then kind of stands up a little taller and is like, "My lady, is this one bothering you?"
I will link my arm with Locke's. Not at all, just some friendly conversation.
Oh, my dear, and he looks at like he kind of suddenly steps back. He's taken it back. Oh, I see. I did not mean to intrude, and I certainly didn't want to offend you in any way, my lady. But all right, my name is Jor-El. So, if you wish to meet me, then I should be at the Broken Axe then tonight around the first bell of the evening. I promise a wonderful and cordial time. And he makes this deep bow.
I'll sort of bow my head a little bit. If I ever return to the city, I will be sure to look you up.
All right then. And he kind of turns with a flourish of his cape and continues on into the crowd with the rest of his day.
This is another part of human culture that really eludes me, I must say.
If I'm honest, me as well.
He seemed kind of nice.
Oh yeah, I know I'm great. I know it's really surprising. You just gotta give goblins a chance. Oh, sorry. Hey guys, what's going on?
Well, looks like our admirers are starting to thin. We should make our escape towards the palace.
Escape's pretty dramatic, but I get what you're saying. We really should go. All right, this way, I suppose.
And we follow.
All right. There we go. So, after finally dispersing and dealing with all the adoring fans and individuals who wish nothing more than to be near the supposed heroes of Marseille, the saviors of the Queen, you found yourselves contemplating something that you realized that some of you were standing in the legacy of people who had come before you, heroes that you knew who have fallen. And many of the people had asked and were wondering how they should refer to you, as simply they didn't find that just calling you the heroes over and over again was going to work for them. Many insisted that they had heard of a powerful electric spell and that people had already begun almost kind of referring to you haphazardly as like Thunder Dangerous. Speaking of the powerful electro storm sphere spell that was supposedly cast in the castle and been handed down and gossiped by the various handmaidens and servants of the palace into the streets.
I'm glad I made an impression. That's a terrible name. I hope it doesn't stick.
That's awesome! It's awesome! So much flair! So much character! Ooh! It tickles me.
It is quite flashy.
I mean, depending, and we do make a lot of noise like thunder, and we are very dangerous. I think it fits.
I like it. It's striking and impressive and totally not lame.
So you're basically debating the merit of the title that the people of Leore, Marseille seem to be giving you anyways. You eventually reach the front gate, and they fetch a carriage which would take you up to the palace. And, in a very comfortable and luxurious ride up, you are greeted by servants and escorted inside the palace, to which they direct you that the queen has been is enjoying a bit of croquet out on the back balconies in the rear gardens with many of her servants and the ladies in waiting. At which time they kind of take you through this beautiful palace and through this very large and eloquently designed and then embellished greenhouse that leads onto this kind of landing with these white like marble and stone stairs, and you see this large garden patio area filled with a tall fountain, and you see at least maybe 3 or 4 dozen nobles, aristocrats and such, and servants kind of chasing them down, trying to keep up with them, and taking out handkerchiefs, wiping the sweat off their foreheads as they're out playing croquet. And you see the queen is kind of underneath this parasail and just sitting with most of the advisors and council members, just kind of enjoying the festivities. As you wait for the servant to go and basically introduce you, he kind of runs over there real quick, gets her attention, and she waves you over. And as you approach her, she kind of stands, and you get the demeanor of which now just this royal presence, this tall, luxuriously dressed woman, just over the top, jewels in her dress, and then the crown, just really making a statement about the kind of wealth that Marseille has just in what she's wearing. And then that's when we're going to take a break. Now that's taken care of. All right, so Queen Jacqueline approaches you. Well, if it isn't the heroes and the saviors of Marseille, or so the people tell me. So, I'm sure you're all wondering why I asked you to come here.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious.
Well, as I had previously stated, I wished to go to the force surrounding Marseille and go to a very special and important pool of water, a lake, a pond, and pray for guidance from the Vivian, the lady. So, I was wondering if you individuals would like to accompany me there.
Go to the place where your deity is?
Of course not. No, it's presumptuous. The lady doesn't reside in the lake.
Oh.
It's just, I think it's just like a holy place, how people go to temples and stuff, Godric.
The pilgrimage site.
Shit.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It is like when we traverse our mountain to visit the shrine to Grom.
Yeah, there you go. A lot like that. Just instead of a mountain, it's a lake. But we do have pressing matters, but this would be quite the honor for our group to have that kind of trust and role and all that. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Because I'm leaning and lunk bumping the people that are standing next to me.
And I would like to go. I'm very curious.
I think it's great honor, and we shouldn't pass it up.
I want to see what other deities' holy places look like. Their holy areas.
Well, it's a beautiful lake. Wonderful. There's a statue of the founding knight of Leore in the center of the pond, surrounded by lush and colorful flowers and bushes.
I should say this, Your Highness. And I understand someone in your position often has to deal with this anyway, but given the nature of what we're carrying, that could kind of make added target out of you if we're to accompany you on this quest. Not that I'm sure there are people and creatures out there that would surely want to do you harm as well, but I just thought it's important to be upfront about that kind of stuff.
So she kind of comes over and like leans down and she like rubs the top of your head. Silly creature, you do not think that I rely on only the 4 of you for protection, do you? No, I will be accompanied by the royal guard as well. All 50 of them or so. This is merely an invitation to take in the sights and the appreciation, to get to know the country that you saved, to get to know just a small favor or honor that I can afford you. At the end of which I should have my answer, and you can take it straight back to the Banner Alliance.
Oh, then if that's the case, then I have to say not only are we honored, we're also obligated, am I right? As I look over at Locke.
I'd say you are right, yes.
So it sounds like it's settled. We're going on a trip to the lake. I'll grab my beach towel.
Get a strange look from Jacqueline, but she more or less just kind of smiles it off. Well, then it is settled then. We should leave immediately. Some of the royal guard have already left to secure the area ahead of us. It should take us the most part of the rest of the day to make it there.
Oh.
And the day back.
Okay, and then we'll leave now. Yeah, it sounds good. As I'm like kind of caught off guard.
So she calls over a servant who runs over. Make sure to put them into contact with the stable master and have them and fetch them some horses from the royal stock. Either way, I will see you there then on the road. And she dismisses you.
Turn and walk away.
The royal stock, you hear that, Locke? No, it'd be hilarious if they had like a clockwork horse for you to ride. As I nudge them.
That would be fascinating. It'd definitely be something a gnome would have to build for them. You know, I've heard we did see that construct of a bull. Why not a horse?
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This, as I turn to a guard, this way, royal stables, this way. As I'm like walking like I know where I'm going.
Trent, I think the exit's this way.
All right. Yeah. So the stable. You're led basically to the stables down around the outside of the palace, kind of down below near where the aristocratic district of like where the nobles live and stuff is. And they fetch you a few horses for you. They get Trin there like a pony for the most part. Very small miniature horse for him to ride.
I braid its hair.
At first, they bring him like a donkey, and they're just like, this doesn't work right.
That is unacceptable.
Alright, so as you are basically led out of the city by a couple of the personal attendants and some of the city guard, you basically take a side exit out of the through the palace grounds, out around the backside of the wall towards the coast. And about maybe 10 minutes out of a ride from the city through these open fields filled with wildflowers, you finally come to what looks like some sort of small encampment. And there you see they're kind of packing it up, the tents and everything. And you see Jacqueline along with her brother, Guillermo, and maybe 10 or 11 Royal Guard. And she sees you coming. And she looks very closely at your steeds. And, well, it looks like they did find you some very, very beautiful and brilliant horses from the stables. How are you enjoying them so far?
It is not often I find steeds that can support me, so thank you.
The royal stock is large and strong.
They're
My
magnificent.
pony needed some sprucing up, and it's looking pretty good. What do you think? As I turn its head to the side, and you can see it's like very advanced and intricate braid that I put into its mane or its hair.
Why, little goblin, I think that you have you've missed your calling. You should braid horsehair.
Not just horsehair. I'm just saying, style counts. You want to look good when you're riding your whip.
Yeah. So they kind of laugh off your comment, and they begin riding out. So, for the most part, you follow a road that goes very close to the edge of the coastline, and you can see that the last lights as you ride through most of the day in the wonderful open sunlight with not much of a cloud to be seen for miles, passing through wildflower pastures and over a creek that runs down, turns into a waterfall that runs over the cliffs down towards the ocean. You kind of get a chance to see the sun like setting over the mountains and get those really deep and intricate colors like over across the glimmering ocean and the royal sea before finally you kind of reach a further like the further more outer territory of the lands that kind of surround the city itself, and it turns into a slightly more rugged wilderness, and the path becomes unpaved and a little bit rougher, but you end up kind of catching up to the other royal guard in this encampment at the outside of like a large, like dark, thickly wooded area. And you can see that they've set up like campfires and fires and torches and kind of lighting the way. And the queen gets down off the horse, and all of her attendants and guards get off, and her brother, and they kind of head over to this tent that they have set up for her. And one of the guards nearby comes up to you. The lady said that you should take these tents over here. These are for you.
Oh. I shrug and go find the one that fits me.
He's like walking over there, fucking Goldilocks, and he's like, "This one's just right." So you find the tents are all fully furnished.
Oh, these are tents. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
You got alrighty.
Yeah.
Oh, they're big. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're yeah.
So you find like full beds, like full-sized beds, chests to keep your gear, armoires, mirrors, stations to wash your hands, multiple bowls, like cool water, and like actually like a private bath inside as well. Where you see that upon entering, each of you basically has a set of basically attendants, like one or two apiece, and they kind of show you through the tent and explain things to you, like where you can keep your things. And ask if you need like heated water to relax and bathe. You're offered a spit polish basically on your body lot, because they really don't know what to do about you. They're just like, do you eat? They have these questions. You can catch them whispering all the time, like in the corner and like looking at you.
A lot of no's. A lot of no. I don't do that. I don't even sleep.
So they kind of just shrug and they're just like, Okay. We'll be around.
Thank you.
So about after like an hour or so of settling in, a messenger basically comes up to the tents, each of you, and explains to you that Her Majesty is inviting you, basically to come eat dinner with her at her tent in the evening.
Oh.
So what do I tell her?
Accept.
well.
Of course, we'll accept.
Very much. Yeah, but the cooks won't have to cook for me, obviously.
And whatever they want to cook for him, cook for me.
That'd work.
All right, we will let them know. So, basically, after settling down and accepting the invite, you guys kind of have a moment where you guys all kind of end up outside. Your tents are pretty close to each other. The area seems well enough guarded. There's at least a retinue of probably the 50 Royal Guard or so that are there with you, but there's also probably like 24 like additional troops as well on the ground, and they bowmen and watchers, meant people, knights on horseback, kind of riding on the outskirts of the area where you're encamped. It's probably the first time, other than sleeping within the boundaries of a city, massive city walls, that it seems like it's fairly safe. You know, the stars are out, the moons are making their lunar cycle, and it's coming to the point in the year where, like, only on a handful of times during the year where both of them will be kind of in the sky at the same time, and you can see that they're kind of moving together, like getting closer.
I love nights like tonight. It's nice to get out of the city every now and again. Makes me feel like I'm making progress.
Towards what?
Oh, the future, my destiny, whatever that is. I'm not much one for staying in one place. I've been traveling so long, it just feels weird. Feels like I'm cooped up.
You know, I can sympathize with that. Me and Godric haven't stopped moving since he found me.
I think what was the longest time we stayed together was in Emrath.
Yeah, nearly a year, right?
I thought about that. A little more, yes? Right before, too. Because that's when I accidentally lost all of our money. Well, I mean...
That's a real long time.
Back then I was... he was learning magic and dragons, and I was a gladiator for a time.
What happened? You bet on yourself and that's how you lost all the money?
No, I bought the entire whorehouse for 2 nights.
He was drinking.
Yes. Unfortunately, I bought all of them for 2 whole nights and, well, damages.
I imagine your eyes were a little too big for your appetite there, big guy.
No, I ran out of money. I wanted more.
As I recall, he spent quite a bit of time face down in a cushion. Quite uncomfortable.
I mean, I wasn't the one face down on the cushion, but you're kind of right.
Well, both, you know, he did a lot of positions in a lot of things, but you were asleep a lot too.
You did a lot of watching, that's all I know.
It's curious.
Good times, good times.
Purely academic, I assure you.
I see you like standing there in the corner being like, curious.
What else am I supposed to do? I can't leave him. He'll surely get into more trouble. And the particular establishment he brought was not a big fan of walls or doors, so there I stood.
No walls and doors?
No, they had the, what did they call it, open door policy? I had quite an audience at one point.
Oh, no. No, that's terrible. Must have been interesting in Emrath. Quite the
Dragonborn have a different sense of
selection.
Dragonborn have a different sense of propriety.
Oh, jeez, that's lovely. As I tap them, we really shouldn't keep her waiting, should we?
No, probably not. Which one is her tent?
The biggest one here.
I walk towards the biggest one I can see.
All right.
Congratulations, you found the barracks tent.
Yeah, it's on the barracks.
Those poor idiots. They get the fucking triangle tent out, away.
Way over there.
I'm feeling like Air Force status. They got a little hotel room service.
So, as you guys laugh it up, reminiscing over the many nights and small amount of fame that Godric had kind of won himself while fighting in the gladiatoria arenas in Emrath and Jerkissus Ragathor, you guys all head out and head towards basically dining, and you find this elaborate and ornate like carved table with all these padded and plush like chairs, one for basically everybody, enough to fit like 20 people around, covered by this huge like tent overhead that runs all the way across and to the back into where the private quarters where Jacqueline basically is staying for the evening. And you are approached and directed to seats kind of near the head of the table, actually. You're maybe only 4 people like down from the queen herself. There's just wonderful candles and the lovely scent of well-cooked and prepared seasoned food kind of just cascading over the camp. There's you have a minstrel there who's playing this very light melody, and it's very pleasant and calming. And it seems to accentuate the sound of what you hear. It sounds like birds or something kind of nearby, near the woods. And you kind of recognize the sound before. You've heard them traveling through Leore, but you're not really sure exactly what they are or what they're called, but they have a very pleasant melody. And they always seem to only start singing like right at the end of evening, when the sun is finally just set, before quieting down later. After maybe 10 minutes or so of just kind of reminiscing amongst yourselves, talking and interacting with some of the other individuals at the table, you kind of just trying to figure out what your deal is. They announce the queen as she comes out, and everybody stands up, and she kind of walks down towards the table, and 2 servants pull her chair back, and she sits, and then they pull her forward. And she just very regally just kind of sits there in this very much different than the gown she wore when you first saw her earlier today. This is much more dressed down and almost like grounded in its style, as it's kind of jarring, actually. Very plain to a degree. But she kind of just looks over at the 4 of you sitting there. And so, what do you think so far of the outing? Have you enjoyed the ride and the pleasant air and such?
It is. There's a calming feel to it.
Yes, I agree. I very much enjoyed doing this as a little girl with my father.
Yes, this has been a lovely trip. Thank you for bringing us.
And you, Warforged, what do you think? What have you thought of Leore so far, and the Marseille?
Leore is a lovely place, and Marseille is a wonderful city. I've been here once before, and maybe one day this will be where I stay.
Maybe. And you, Goblin. I'm sure you have enjoyed your stay so far.
Oh yeah, quite. I have enjoyed it quite. This I like being on the road. I like I like traveling. Feels very natural, and this is quite the path. Very scenic, and of course, the accommodations, as I like gesture towards the table, are far above anything that I've ever received while on the road.
Yes, I noticed that you had an instrument. Are you a bard? I'm sure that you've enjoyed the sampling the city, its culture, art, and music. Have you gone to the minstrel district inside Marseille yet?
Oh, I can't say I have. It's been quite the trip. I've been preoccupied with my new friends, as I gesture to the people sitting by me. I really should make a point to go visit and see what that's all about. But I can say that the city is very beautiful and very, it almost has a regal nature to it. Unlike any other city that I've seen in my travels. And yeah, I'm a bard of sorts. I like to say that I get to enjoy the generosity of others.
Oh, well, you should share some of the tales. I do say though that I very recently purchased a new instrument from Bravadis to arrive in the keep. Have you heard of these I believe they call them pianos in Bravadis.
I can't say that I've really heard of those. What kind of instrument is that?
It's hard to explain. It's a very large instrument of sorts, and they have these. I believe they called them like keys, the white and black, and they would play them, and it's almost mechanical to a degree. It plays the music itself. It comes out, and you sit at it upright, and they play. It's very beautiful and very lovely.
Oh, are you planning on learning how to play, or do you play an instrument?
No, I never had time for such things.
Oh, well, I've heard rumors of nobles and royal types such as yourself having very varied classes, wide span of different topics and subjects, and I've heard of some folks learning various instruments, so I'm actually kind of surprised.
More than likely, many would. It's traditional for most women in Leore to learn some sort of instrument in the essence of finding suitors and accordance with our station. But I spent much time, running from my duties as a child and hiding from lessons. I would often sneak into my father's study and take out books on history. It fascinated me.
Well, we all do have our passions, and sometimes it's good for a leader to have a little bit of a rebel in her, as I wink.
And what of you, young lady from so far away? I believe that you said you come from north of here, along the Shattered Coast, the West Dales and the Elder Mounts.
Yes, just north of Belindel.
I've never been to Belindel, but I have met tinker gnomes who come from there.
It's a lovely city. I have quite a good time anytime I can visit there.
And do you have family there?
No, not anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Were they lost to you?
For now, I believe that I'll see them again someday, though.
I believe that one day I will see my father once again. When I'm embraced in Avalon by the lady for doing my duty to the best of my ability and the best for the people of Leore.
I'm sure that you will. You run a lovely city.
We do the best that we can in trying times.
I'm sure it cannot be easy.
What is the saying? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Yes, much worry constantly upon my brow, especially in such uncertain times. We receive word from Ravadis that the war does not go well for them, that the Empire struggles, that others worry. Lynchstadt, Fenralden, Krayat, all of these lands underneath the sway and power of individuals who they know not to be the cult of domination.
Bless you.
Well, I do hope it is known that we will be here to help you in any way that we can.
Well, hopefully the Lady Vivienne feels the same way and guides me in that direction, the same as you.
That being said, Your Highness, how have you been feeling since, well, you know, everything happened?
It's been much better. Much better.
That's good.
My attendants, clerics and healers of such, attended to me for hours after the enchantment or spell was broken, and it was explained to me what was happening. But I am much more sound in mind, much more confident in my health and my judgment. And I have all four of you to thank for that.
We are happy to help. We're
It
glad
did-
we...
It did surprise me that your other friend did not join you, though.
Alaric, yes. Well, he had business in his own home. He had to return.
I wished to grant him a favor, and I wished to help him with his homeland, and see if I could not use him as a way to reach out to his father and his mother, and try to get the Westdales united in their stance against the coming dragons and their invasion of our lands. But since he is not here, I assume he believes that he may handle them himself?
I
think-
believe the issue was quite urgent, and he would have been here if he could.
I see. And so, as you guys are having this conversation, like, first course portion of the meal comes out. It's a like light soup, like some sort of like bean soup, and basically eat or whatever everybody but Locke, because Warforged are weird. And after you have basically finished or semi-finished, Godric finishes right away, just like mows it down. Push talk or mute, one or the other.
This is great food. I compliment the cook.
And so they take that serving away, and then you're left for another moment. So Bard, I believe you said that you dabble of sorts, but why carry an instrument? Would you mind playing a song for us? And she kind of looks over at the minstrel that was playing, and she just kind of quiets him down.
Well, I suppose I could. As I go and I find a place of. I know we're kind of out and whatnot, so I go and I move my chair and I hop up and I stand on the chair, sitting on the back of the chair, and I start playing on my instrument, playing a lullaby.
Okay. About what?
Oh, geez, so much pressure! Oh my God! Oh,
You picked a
Oh.
bard.
I did pick a barn. Oh, jeez. I think to my time, this one is about a time where I spent far too much time away from my loved ones, and next to a glass. And then I start playing and I go, buy me a beer to go to the glass. Come on, help me, I'm freezing my ass. As I look at her as I say the bad word. Buy me brandy, a snifter wine. Who am I kidding? I'll drink turpentine.
So everybody claps as you finish the little song, and she's like, "Oh, that was wonderful. I've never heard such a song before. I've heard songs like that before, but I've never heard that particular one."
Yeah, you pick these kinds of songs up, especially in the more dingy of establishments. But they have a lot of character, so sometimes it's worth it slumming it.
So, the next course comes out, and it's a hearty, what looks like probably some sort of hearty meat, like maybe like a roast pig of some sort. And you guys eat that, get your fill of it, or as much as you can. This time they bring Godric as many servings as he can handle, as he just goes plate for plate for plate. Just going to town. This amazing aroma running through the air, and the joy around the table, and everybody seems to be lighthearted and having this wonderful time. And then finally you finish up, and they begin removing the plates and the silverware, and the queen kind of stands up, and once again everybody stands with her.
I stand up on my chair.
Well, it was such a lovely evening spending time with you. I look forward to maybe another story from one of the three others that are here with you. But first, I would like to present these to you. And someone kind of comes from the side, and they have this box, this like kind of medium-sized box or whatever. This ornate box with like this gold trim, and it has like Pegasi on the top, like this beautifully carved Pegasi on the top. And she kind of opens it, and she pulls out these intricate, like, basically lions. They look like pins of some sort. And these are one of the highest regards and honors of all of the royal bloodline could hope to achieve in Leore. They cement your legacy as heroes to our land. May they do you well, treat them well, and you will find joy and welcoming in the streets as you go through Leore. It also comes with the responsibility as protectors of the realm, and you share in the responsibility of doing the best works that you can in the eyes of the lady, Vivian. Protect the world and protect the wild places, the untainted places of the wilderness. And so one after another, one at a time, she comes up to each of you and she pins this ornate gold lion, kind of designed in the rampant, kind of like lion style, that is the emblem of Leore. And then everybody kind of like bows. And so you see everybody at the same time, including the queen, kind of just give a deep bow for a moment. And then they all stand up and kind of lightly applaud, including the queen herself and her brother and many of the other advisors. Now, I shall retire for the evening. Feel free to wander the camp, speak with others, do what you might. It might still be early for most, but not for I. Still maybe slightly weary from what happened before. Either way, have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for coming along with me.
The honor is ours, Your Highness.
I bow back.
As I bow dramatically.
Luck?
Mm-hmm.
The shirt is not real.
You're making quite a mess.
She pinned it to my chest. It hurts more than I thought it would. Oh.
Just walk through the pain. You've done this before.
It's really close to my nipple.
I don't know what that means as far as
It's sensitive.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Just
all right.
So all the attendants and basically servants or whatever are cleaning up, and everybody's kind of shuffling their way out of the tent. The other aristocrats and nobles kind of making their way out, and you're kind of gestured to, like, hey, be on with it. Dinner's over or whatever. Like, the queen likes you, but we have work to do. So you get the impression that you kind of need to go. As you leave, though, you are several of the royal guard in their heavy plate armor kind of come over to you. And there's this moment where they kind of get really close, and Guillermo comes up from behind you, and he kind of steps around this front. We just all wanted to personally thank you for saving her, and for saving most of us. I'm sure that all of these men here with me would have more than likely died had it not been for you being there.
I am personally glad I could help defend someone's home. I know what it's like to fall under attack so close to home. Being able to save it is a good feeling, even if it is not mine.
So one of the knights kind of speaks up real quick. A very young-looking knight. No, I don't believe that you understand. I had fallen that night. If the cultists had been left to do what they willed with us, they would have executed us. I am a young knight. I recently was married and had a small child over this last winter. If you had not been there, I would have lost everything, and while I would sacrifice my life for the lady herself, for Jacqueline, and for my country, I'm glad that you were there to make sure I didn't have to. And then, kind of all at the same time, they all kind of just kneel and bow their heads. And there's this strange bit of wind that kind of just picks up, and kind of just outside of the range of the camp you see somebody standing out there in the distance. A slender but tall, almost woman. And she's kind of has this sword at her side in a hilt. And she turns away and walks into the shadows. And then you lose sight of her outside of the camp's perimeter. And the knights kind of all stand up and they give a bow and they kind of leave and head off to deal with their duties and their attendants. Guillermo stays behind, though. I have not spoken to my sister yet, but there may be a small issue here in the thicket, and we may need some assistance dealing with it. So many like yourselves who are strangers to our land might not understand, but we have a deep, deep connection to the Fae and to the Feywild. Many of our wild places are shared and homed by pixies and sprites, fairies and the such, and there are many, many Fae crossings in our lands. It seems as though the sacred pool of water itself has been overrun by some redcaps.
could go hunting tonight.
We do not want to go at night. You may cross over to the Fae and not be able to find your way back. This is a mystical and sacred forest. It's said that the lady herself actually first handed the sword and crowned the first king, our founder of Leore, here at this lake. We do not tread lightly upon its grounds. We have scouts and warriors out gathering and finding them and driving them towards the pool of water where we may kill them all at once and drive them away, as we are sure that that is where they crossed over. There is a strong magical presence there, resonating. Sometimes these fairy crossings last for days, sometimes for hours, sometimes for a single night. I did not want to alarm her or ruin her celebration, as her health was greatly affected by what she underwent. So I'm hoping that the four of you and myself, and maybe a few others, a small group, can keep this from her. Keep it quiet and deal with these creatures. I would personally find it a great deal helpful and a great favor. One I'm willing to pay you in gold for.
I understand where you're coming from, but isn't there that little issue of if we do this and you're running them towards that pool and we murder them all, where she shows up and there's all these corpses and blood all over her sacred site?
Are we worried about what the Lady of the Lake thinks or what my sister thinks?
I don't know, a little bit of both, I suppose.
I love my sister, but ultimately she only rules by the hand and grace of Vivian, the lady herself. Vivian would not want these things here. She wants them gone. We will have them cleaned up and removed and buried and dealt with long before my sister arrives.
Well, it sounds like you got it all figured out then. So I'm on board. What about as I look over at Katarina?
Of course. Not a problem at all.
I do want to try out Gwendolyn, so yeah.
A favor for friends. Why not?
Listen, the creatures are vicious and not to be underestimated, but they are still just small fae. They pose no real massive threat outside of there being very many. And at this time, the scouts and rangers as such have told us that maybe there is a dozen scattered throughout the outsides of the pond.
All I'm saying is the last time someone said, hey, don't worry about it, I gave my weapons and then a dragon broke in. Okay? So, expect the unexpected.
Don't jinx this lot.
Nope.
Or Godric.
Alright, well then, what is the price? What would you like? You already received a great honor from Her Majesty today. Those lines, the pins that you have, many people will respect them and they will listen to you. You may find yourself with the ability to use that as leverage against those who, the normal person, they will revere what they see. We are a land of chivalry, a land of love, and a land of respect. And the people will respect you because of the lion, because of what you have done, but you must also show them the same kindness and respect in return. You wear a pin that is only awarded to knights of the highest honor. Those who are ready to go on their quest to find the Grail, to meet Vivian, and to end their long journey. So you must ask yourself, with this new power that you have, with this respect, you should consider how you would use it and wield it against our own people. A knight isn't selfish. Just remember that. So, how much would you like to be compensated?
You can't ask me that after to give me that kind of speech.
100 gold a red cap?
Well,
What?
that's apparently much cheaper than I was willing to spend. We're talking about the royal treasury, so how about 10,000 gold?
Per red cap?
No, in total.
No,
Oh,
I think he's talking flat rate, friend.
damn. Okay.
Alright, we should set out in the morning then. The red caps seem to be most active then, as they head back to their hiding places. So, I bid you a good night. And he bows and leaves and heads out over to his tent.
So, when did we become worth more money? Look, first I had a hammer that's worth 20,000 gold, and now 10,000 gold a job? What the hell?
Saving an
What a
empress.
sucker! After all that talking, I would have done it for free because of honor and stuff. He's very convincing. Did you hear that speech? As I give game recognizes game.
Normally I would agree, but we need money to go places. And I believe we need potions of healing now. And I don't know, everything that was in another bag of holding that got burnt? All of it?
It was a lot.
Do you know how many hand axes I lost?
Several.
Oh, I get your point. I understand. And I know how this thing works, but man, you can see why he got to a position of authority. Worst of all, I think he believes all that stuff.
Well, with his negotiating tactics, let us hope that he is not always in charge of the treasury.
Well, it sounds like we got something to do tomorrow morning. It might be a good idea to turn in.
We have an early night.
The last thing you want to do is go fight some red caps sleepy and get caught off guard. Could you imagine trying to explain how Thunder Dangerous got beat by a couple red caps? That's not how I want my story to go down as I start walking towards the tent.
I formally object to this name.
Well, he is right about us not wanting our story told that way.
That's true.
Must agree about the name.
Oh, gosh. I'm so glad that we can agree on that. We'll think of something better.
It sounds like a band some of the children in Belindle had when I was there one time.
Talking about this is great. It's thunder, we're loud, we announce ourselves, and it's dangerous. So everyone knows that we're dangerous. And we're thunderous. He's lightning, my sword is lightning. You both should learn lightning magic, maybe.
It is a bit on the nose, though, don't you think?
Yes.
You see Godric just reach up and touch his nose. What?
Never mind. Well, I am off to bed then. Good night.
Good night. I'm
Night,
gonna
Katarina. Sleep well.
Good night. As I turn and walk towards the lake.
What lake?
I mean,
Where
it can. Well, I thought the lake was closer where we were camped. That's why I was asking.
It is, but close is I don't know, a few miles.
It'll take me about an hour to get there.
It's a dense forest. You guys are camped on the outside in this wide open glade.
I really want to go walk there, but I remember the last time I walked into a forest near a fucking lake,
Total
and
adventure? Solo adventure.
No, Godric. I want to do it, but I also know what happened the last time I wanted to do
What?
a fucking
Don't go out
What
there
would
like
Godric do, Mike? What would Godric do?
Just don't go out there throwing your name around.
Yeah, introduce yourself to the trees. See what
Yeah.
happens.
Fuck it. Godric goes for a walk to the lake.
I'm fucking with you. Don't do that.
So, as everybody kind of heads to their tents for the night, and kind of does their last minute moving of like kind of rummaging through your stuff, Katarina, as you're kind of going through your things and getting ready for the evening, you end up finding the toy that Alric gave you. Just sitting there in the bag. You kind of take it out and kind of look at it, put it down. But you hear that heavy breathing and the sound of, like, as you kind of look around in the tent, you see that Hound of Ill Omen is like laying on your bed. And it kind of just is sitting there, and it raises its head and looks at you. I hate it. In the presence of that fool Vivian. I can feel her all around. It's annoying. It's like a stinging sensation. Do you not feel it?
You don't have to be here.
I do have to be here. You know, I am partly a manifestation of you. You made me.
Unfortunately, I know that all too well.
He kind of rolls over on the bed, like playfully on his back with his paws up in the air, like stretches and flips over, and then climbs down off the bed. Anyways, we should finish what we have going on here and move on. It'll take me days to wash off the stench of this place. As it kind of just looks around and just sits, kind of relaxes, and then lays its front paws forward and just kind of dogs down on the floor, this paw between its legs.
Did you happen to see the woman standing at the edge of the woods?
He kind of yawns lazily. Oh, I didn't see anything.
Well, am I going to have any sort of consequences for getting closer and closer to this lake? Do you know?
I don't think so. Probably not. Who could say? Our powers do wane a little bit in the divine presence of such sacred zones. Most do not welcome, they resent Hecate's gifts and her power. They're jealous of her.
Sure, I'm sure that's what it is.
Anyways, you know where to find me if you need me. And as it kind of puts its head down for the last time and closes its eyes, it begins to kind of just turn into smoke and just fade from the material plane.
Well, I will crawl into my bed for the night, and I've got the little toy that Alric gave me in one hand and Nikolai's pendant in the other, and I'll probably not sleep much.
Yeah, so as you kind of close the drapes, and as they kind of just hang enclosing the bed, you hear the sound of booted feet outside of your tent as they kind of go near the entrance and then just kind of turn. And then you hear the sound of two individuals kind of having a very quiet conversation, just like outside your tent. And then you distinctly hear one of them walk away, but not both.
I will use a sorcery point to cast Read Minds, or whatever the spell is actually called, to try to figure out who's out there.
All right, so you pick up the faint kind of inner thoughts of an individual, and he's like, oh man, I'm tired. That was a long march, and now I'm on guard duty. He's like, I just want to go to sleep and eat, and it's just kind of those rambling thoughts.
All right, well, I will just lay in bed then, and then probably spend most of the night replaying both Nikolai leaving and Ulrich leaving in my head over and over again.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Sleeping on a pillow of regret. It's not healthy.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be pretty comfy. It's a big pillow.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, Godric, as you
no.
kind of enter the tent, it's kind of just the mess that you left it. Your shit's kind of flung all over the place, and you readjust, or you like move the furniture around. You're just like, yeah, that goes over there now, to kind of widen it, because they didn't really necessarily lay out the tent in a way that's accommodating for Goliath. I mean, your head is like up at the top of the tent, and you kind of gotta like, hunch a little bit just to be in there. Yeah.
The awkward neck hunch where you're just like, eh.
Yeah, where it's like just the neck. So as you're like kind of going around the room and trying to figure out how to, you want to handle this undersized bed for the night, you hear someone approach the tent, and you recognize the sound of the heaviness of them as more than likely either a heavily armored individual coming to fucking attack you, or Locke. So then Locke enters the tent.
What's up, Locke? You see me just kind of sitting there looking at the bed with my hand on my beard, rubbing the naked chin that I have, surrounded by hair and my mutton chops.
I told you would forget about the pin, and I point at it in your chest.
Now it hurts again.
Well, I'm sorry. Take it out.
I do. I reach down and pull it out, and then kind of reach up and grab the cloak and kind of pin it to that, and then bend the pin slightly to make sure it stays.
Our last conversation wasn't our finest, was it?
No. No, it wasn't.
Fair. I see now why you were upset, and I don't fully understand.
Do
be
you?
honest with you. All right, fine. Let's skip all this. We know we have a difference of opinions, but one thing is true is that you are and will continue to be my friend, and I hope you feel the same. I'm
Again.
sorry. I'm sorry about what I did.
Will not lie to you. What you said hurt, and the decisions you made also hurt. But still, all we have been through, all that we have done, we have been through so much. Even things that the others do not know. We will continue to grow from this. But remember, with everybody, we are connected, and we should stay that way. As I reach out and I hold my arm out to you, and you will be my brother, now and forever.
Clasp your arm. I know you probably won't want to hear an explanation, but if you do, just want to talk about what I was thinking, you can ask.
Not yet.
Well,
I'm
then,
still hurt. And I need my own time to settle.
Then a simple apology for now.
Good place to start. I will forgive, but I will not forget. You know me well enough for that.
I do. Thank you, brother.
Of course.
I think I'll rest in here tonight.
I will be lounging on the bed, because it's all I really can do.
As I pat you on the back, I turn and kind of just lay my torso and lower body on the bed. My legs just kind of dangle off the edge.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I sit cross-legged, sort of in the center of the tent, and go into my resting state.
As I'm beginning to doze off, I just kind of reach down and pull a little trinket out of my pouch in my cloak. It looks to be rather rudely crafted, but just like it's like a piece of wood with a couple wraps rolling over a little gem. As he rubs it kind of lightly. It's polished, it's almost like a worry stone.
I don't know if you're listening, because I don't know if you do anymore. But I'm sorry I did not, or was not able to slay the dragon and prove my worth to you, Crom. But thank you. The powers you gave that have been given to me in your name. Let me protect my new family. It wasn't enough, but that is my own fault. And I will grow from it and find a way to prove my worth. I will. I will prove my worth.
As I slowly begin dozing off, rubbing the little eyeball.
All right. So as you leave Godric's tent, Locke, and you're kind of heading over to yours, like thinking about everything that transpired, there is almost like a strange quaking in the ground around you, a sudden shaking. And the sound, there's a sound like something collapsing in the distance. Something crumbling and falling apart. And as you kind of look around you to figure out what's going on, back towards Marseille in the direction of the horizon, you see a strange apparition, like a massive set of series of walls with a huge gate. An iron, like, mechanical gate with this massive tower at its center. And this strange bluish hue glow coming from behind it all. And the tower begins to kind of fall apart as it begins crumbling down. And leaving only this radiating sharp blue light as it begins to kind of come closer to you. And then it disappears.
A calling. So I just turn back towards my tent and walk towards it, thinking about what that all means, and then considering what the Warforged from earlier today had to say. Thinking about a previous adventure with Godric before we would come to the party, and what it all means for my past and my old memories.
So as you kind of power down into sentry mode to rest your core, your nexus, and to just contemplate, you're basically stuck with the image of the strange ships in the sky and the black hooded creature who was siphoning off the soul automata. On repeat, it continues to play, but not perfectly. There's almost like the more you think about it, the harder you think about it, little bits of it kind of come out of shadow in more detail. But not enough that you can tell anything more than you already can. But just little pieces become more clear and able to focus on. And you all go to sleep. You rest for the night. And are awakened by the sound of a rustling camp and birds in the morning. To begin a new adventure to deal with these red caps in the woods. Until next Friday.